For a large amount of couples, there is a struggle that they will find themselves in. It's a struggle where one spouse feels like they have to control, micromanage, or babysit the recovery or repair work of the other spouse. It becomes a chaotic ordeal, and I would say that it actually kind of works almost equally as destructive on both sides, meaning the unfaithful in certain situations will feel like they have to control the betrayed's repair work, or the betrayed feels like they need to control or manage the repair work or recovery work of the unfaithful spouse. And it becomes this exhausting, overwhelming ditch that couples fall into. I will tell you, it's very normal. I talk to people probably every day who struggle with this paradigm and they don't know how to get out of it. And you can understand both sides of the equation, right? If the unfaithful is trying to do work and they're trying to save the relationship and they're really committed and they understand, or they're trying to understand how they have devastated their spouse, and they're trying to get their spouse to do work, to take a course, to do an intensive, to go to counseling, to read this, to read that, you can understand to a certain extent that the unfaithful is trying to save their marriage, but the betrayed is not going at a speed that they would like, and so they're desperately trying to kind of control. Now, it's understandable that within that is some very toxic control, some very toxic fear, right? They're trying to, please don't leave me, please don't leave me. They're trying to, maybe try and get them to stop talking about it, but to get help so that they can heal. At the end of the day, I think a bigger piece of the pie chart than any other of the issues that I have raised is that they're trying to stabilize or trying to save the relationship. Now, every situation is different, and I know that some unfaithfuls are not trying to do that, but for the sake of our discussion, a lot of them are trying to save the relationship. And the betrayed may find themselves in a situation, male or female, where they are doing work, they're trying to really help themselves, but yet they feel like their spouse is not doing a lot of recovery work. So they feel a sense of responsibility, right? To send them videos, maybe even barrage them with a ton of videos and books and courses and all of these different things that they could do. And on the pie chart, some of it may be that they want to, put them in a position where they understand you did this, and so this is going to be required of you. Yeah, there might be a little bit of that. Some of it may be a sense of you owe me this. Some of it's just anger, but I think generally speaking, a larger piece of the pie chart is simply, look, I want us to stabilize, and I want us to find healing, and I want us to experience a sense of restoration to our relationship. The problem is, most of the time, I have found that actually backfires, and it creates more collateral damage because whomever is not maybe doing what the other spouse thinks that they should be doing feels pressured, feels controlled, feels disapproved of, and it begins to create more chaos, more drama, when in reality, one of the best things that we can do is let go of our spouse's repair work. One of the most freeing things that we can do is actually let go of what they are doing or they are not doing and begin to actually allow the fruit of their life to speak for what recovery or repair work they're doing. When we step back and allow the fruit of their recovery work or lack thereof to come to the surface, that's when we can make decisions. That's when we can begin to understand what's really going on in the heart of our spouse. Samantha handled this with incredible wisdom and bravery, because Samantha had reached a point after the 10 years of marriage that we had had at that time, and then the overwhelming onslaught of just chaos, confusion, and devastation, and the feeling of, I knew I was right all along when my affair came out. She kind of hit this point about, I would say, month and a half in, where she said to me, I'm not going to babysit you. I'm not going to chase you. If you want to be here, you're going to have to do work. You're going to have to do it. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to babysit you. If you want to be here, if you want this family, if you want to live in this home, you're going to have to do A, B, C, D, E, and F. And if not, you won't live with us, and that's just the bottom line. She didn't yell, she didn't scream. There wasn't this begging and pleading, and there wasn't this overly, sugarcoating of words to try and beg me. She just simply said, look, this is what you're going to have to do. And when we moved, because we were moving from California to Austin, she said, when we move to Austin, we're going to find the best help that we can. And if you won't meet with them, then you'll have to get an apartment and move out. Everything inside of me knew that this was a moment where Samantha meant business, and there was not going to be any wavering on the expectations that she had of me. You see, when I say it's time to let go of our spouse's recovery work, I'm not saying it's time to let go of expectations. It's not time to let go of your boundaries. It's not even time to let go of maybe already agreed upon consequences or already agreed upon expectations that if they don't do X, then you're not doing Y. And that's really true for the betrayed. Because as a betrayed spouse, you may say, look, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. I'm expecting you to do this, and if you can't do those things, then I need you to know I don't think that I can continue in this relationship, or I don't think that we can stay in the same house, or et cetera, et cetera. You, at every level, have every right to lay hold of and not let go of boundaries and expectations and a sense of what you need. But there comes a time, and it may be that time for you where you say, look, I can't manage it for you. I'm not going to manage it for you. I'm not going to ask you every day if you do your homework, if you're in one of our online courses. I'm not going to ask you every day, did you do this? Did you do that? Because all it does is create a sense of you fathering or mothering your spouse, and you're going to go crazy because you're trying to micromanage their efforts, and some days you don't even know what you need to feel safe. Some days you may feel like you need this to feel safe, and then some days you may need to feel this. And so you're kind of changing at times too in terms of what you need, but I will tell you, when you have to, or if you have to, father your spouse in their recovery, or mother your spouse in their recovery, something's wrong with them, not you. There's got to be a point where they understand if they don't do this, already agreed upon expectations, already agreed upon boundaries, that if they don't do them and if they don't commit to them, then there is going to be consequences. There's going to be a pulling back by you. There's going to be a reaction when they refuse to honor your boundaries or honor your safety or do what you have already agreed upon doing in an effort to give the relationship a chance. Now, I understand there may be some pushback, and you say, Samuel, how long can I go on like this? I don't know. It's different for every person because there's probably been a different process for you in terms of communicating what you need as a betrayed or communicating boundaries or expectations. If you're an unfaithful, you may feel like, hey, wait a minute, what about me? Like, I'm doing all that I can, but my betrayed won't do any recovery work. Well, again, the onus is on you to ask yourself, well, how long can I keep doing this? How long am I going to commit to this process? When is there going to come a point where I say, look, I've done all that I can do and my betrayed spouse refuses to do anything? I don't know what that time frame is for you personally. I can tell you that many unfaithfuls will give it a year, sometimes two, and do everything that they can. And at the end of that time period, they may feel a sense of release to say, you know, what I did was terrible. What I did was horrific. I'll forever be guilty and forever grieved of it. But I'm trying to heal and they are not cooperating. And I think it might be best for us to go our separate ways. Again, I don't know the time frame exactly for you because I don't know your whole story. But there is a sense of freedom. In fact, actually, let me map it out for you. It goes a little bit something like this. Because I had to do this with Samantha as well. When we say, okay, I'm not going to micromanage their recovery work, I'm not going to try and control them, I'm going to let them do what they're going to do and enjoy the freedom of not trying to control them, and I'm going to let the fruit of their recovery work or lack thereof reveal what's really going on inside. The first step is it feels good, and then it sucks really bad because you're like, wait, I don't like this. I want to manage, control. I want to, babysit, mother, father, all these things. And then you realize this isn't working. It's just upsetting me more. And then you take your hands off the steering wheel of their recovery and you finally go, this feels better. I feel insecure. I'm worried. Yeah. But I can't do it for them. And then you start to get healthier and healthier and you realize, wait a minute, it's not my job to manage them. They have to want it. They have to be committed. They have to put the time in. And if they're not going to, well, then I can't be vulnerable with them. I can't constantly let my guard down. I can't chase them anymore. Because the goal is to even allow the fruit of your own healing to come forth. I think a harmonious recovery is when we both are doing our recovery work. We're both committed to our work, even if we don't know if we're totally committed to the future together. We're committed to getting healthy. We're committed to at least giving the relationship a chance. And when the fruit of our desperate, dedicated, passionate recovery work starts to come out, I think we both take a deep breath and go, wow, this is pretty awesome. Alternatively, there may come a time where you say, look, I've allowed this amount of time. I think it needs to be at least between 3 months and 12 months. And depending on how much collateral damage there has been, maybe even longer. But alternatively, it might come to the point where you say, look, I've given X amount of time. They're not in it. They don't want it. They're not willing to do what it takes. I can no longer live like this, and I have to take care of me, and I have to realize I'm trying to make someone want me or love me or want the relationship, and I can't live like that any longer.